We ready to rock and roll? All right, cool. Well, let's start with something fun. So I think a handful of you guys probably received the recent email that I send out announcing our new radio show and our new partnership with SiriusXM Radio. So we have launched a variety sports show on SiriusXM, Channel 87, the Fantasy Sports Channel. And we're going to really focus on all the sports, all the major features. You know, we've already been broadcasting about the Masters and the Kentucky Derby, NBA, MLB, everything like that. So we just recently announced that partnership via email. I think some of you guys might have seen it, so I thought a fun way to start to bring it in here is to come out with the open. I got a little sample of the open of a recent show, so give you guys a listen here for a second.
Who's next? AngelFire Radio, your home for fantasy sports domination.
Right hand, violent plus 50-yard touchdown catch.
No matter what sport you play, AngelFire is your home to win.
There's always a hidden value. Doesn't matter if it's DFS, prop bets, fantasy drafts, we have the tools to find it.
Here's your host, Joe Bartle.
Welcome to AngelFire Radio, powered by RotoWire. This is about, I would say, as eclectic of a show as you're going to get here on the station. This Saturday, we're going to have Kieran Sprecher on a little bit later on in the show to talk about NBA season. Effectively put a bow on it. We had a lot of outcomes sort of beside the playoff ramifications last night. Get you set for some potential playoff matchups post-play-in. Then we have Len Hochberg coming on a little bit later after that to talk not quite the final round of the Masters. I care about that more for Sunday, but of course we have we have contests going on right now, and recapping what we've seen over the past couple of days of the tournament. Reminder, you can hear the coverage of the Masters on Masters Radio Channel 92, including hole-by-hole, play-by-play, hosted by Mike Tirico. I want you guys to listen to me, but let's be honest, it's okay if we're tuning into a little bit of Masters coverage. This is one of the most important weekends of the year when it comes to that, and perhaps most importantly to you guys, listeners, right now, we are going to pick another AngelFire Radio Moneymaker slate on the AngelFire Games app at the end of the hour. Another $100 goes up to first place if you correctly guess the most amount of winners. And what's going to be basically an MLB heavy slate. We're going to go over all the games with that. There's two NBA ones at the very end, which are going to be taking place Sunday.
Well, I just want to give you a taste. So, you know, we are going to be talking about all the sports on that show. We're going to be really focusing on all the major features because that's a big driver for AngelFire, you know, from the Super Bowl to March Madness, Masters, all of this stuff. And as you can see, what kind of the hook with SiriusXM is everybody's looking for more engagement, and they really like the concept of engaging the listeners with actual gaming. So I'll get to a little more about that a little later, kind of where we think this can go with SiriusXM and a little more information about that. But I guess first, just want to welcome everybody, and I really appreciate everybody coming out to listen and support me, and pretty excited to come back to Austin and be able to share what we're up to with AngelFire. It's cool for me to, you guys know I'm from Austin, so it's cool to kind of come back here and do this. And I guess one little fun fact is when I left Austin, so y'all know, most of y'all know I go to NFL training camps every year. Some of y'all know that for work. And I was going to head out to Broncos training camp to kick things off. And one of our good mutual friends, a couple of them know him here, our buddy Kent, is out racing cars today. But he goes to AngelFire, New Mexico frequently. And he said, hey, dude, before you go over to Colorado, come hang out for a little bit. So when I left Austin, my first stop was AngelFire, New Mexico. I loved the name and just kind of kept it in my back pocket for when it was going to be appropriate to use on one of my next ventures. So that's a little bit of a genesis of the story of the name and kind of the beginnings of this all coming to fruition. I guess I don't know what it says about me, but there's a lot of characters in this room. Real characters. Some very talented people. Few of them are the most talented beer drinkers I've ever met. Most talented beer drinkers in America. Got a couple of them over here. But truthfully, there's a lot of successful people in this room. We have real estate guys, systems analysts, insurance guys, commercial captain out on the Gulf of Mexico. Mitch is a real Renaissance man, I think is a fair way to put it. Bruce is a longtime marketing and web design guy that's worked with a lot of startups. So, when this is over, I think it'd be cool. Feel free. I think it'd be really cool for everybody to mingle a little bit and get to know some of the other people here. There's some all very successful and very talented people here. So, just to show you how well I know my audience, Maya. Now I know these boys back here, they're going to need a whole bucket of beers for this, okay? There we go, there we go. So you guys can see at a really high level, fun, simple, social are our values. That's a big driver of what we're doing. Me, the founder, most of y'all know me pretty well, so I won't spend a lot of time here, but kind of looking back, I have 14 years experience in the sports gaming industry, so developed a lot of relationships. I understand the market opportunity quite well, and that's really what gave me the confidence to pursue this venture, that we could get it off the ground and have a lot of success here. I've been a fantasy football expert. I've been a broadcaster. I've been an NFL scout. Charlie, I go way back as a sales guy in my early days when he used to manage me at Countrywide Mortgages down in the big pit, man. So one thing that really struck me, though, was, so this is my third startup. The first two have been successful. This is going to be our best one yet. I'm very confident about it. And looking back, what was really interesting to me, this kind of light bulb went on for me when I was putting this presentation together, is really in all three businesses, I was an innovator. And in all three of them, what we ultimately ended up doing is going for broader appeal. So, the two previous companies was all about expanding our market, doing something simple, broader appeal. And it's very similar to a lot of what we're doing here with AngelFire. So I hadn't really had that realization until I was putting this together, but it's turned out to be my chops. I'm not sure I ever knew I'd be building games, but here we are, and it's a lot of fun. So I like to refer to this as our kind of the market inefficiency. So you guys recognize some of these brands on the left here, from sports betting to daily fantasy sports, and obviously these companies have done very, very well. But really what's missing in this market is there's no platform that services entry-level players, as I like to refer to them. So like beginners, intermediate players, people that may never be gamblers, or people that are maybe new to it, maybe they will be someday, but they need an easy entry point, an easy access point into all this, and then obviously peer-to-peer gaming and social gaming as we branded ourselves. There's really no platform that accentuates the social aspect of things. So that's a big part of what we're doing here. The market opportunity, and this is just our domestic market opportunity. I mean, it's a large opportunity. I feel pretty confident this is something that can expand internationally as well. Converting fans into participants. So again, this is kind of this entry-level player. I think a lot of this is we're cultivating the next generation of users, sports bettors, engaged customers and consumers in this market. And as we capture these people first by living kind of at the top of the funnel, this is going to become very valuable, having essentially that targeted user base under our umbrella. So this underserved market right here is essentially, at the top line. The top line opportunity is to provide value to that underserved market. I mean, that's kind of the objective of any, especially innovative company, is you've got to provide sufficient value to the market. And in this case, it's that underserved market. Let's see. So, a couple things that come to mind here is we had DraftKings, FanDuel, sports betting. You have Prize Picks, Underdog. They kind of push the frontier. And so I think we sort of went out to the frontier of the frontier a few years ago when we started this in anticipation of where the market was going. You know, my premise was there's no way you're going to dive right into real money gaming, and it's going to be almost an impossible mission. The lifeblood of this industry is customer acquisition. I said if we can get out to the frontier and build something with broader appeal, we got a real shot to build a great user acquisition mousetrap, and then once we have the users, kind of the world is our oyster to continue building this out, even perhaps into real money gaming at some point. So first order of business is, you know, building a great user acquisition mousetrap. So sort of the really the three of the market opportunities that I see here are cultivating the next generation of sports bettors. Again, all the real money operators, their biggest pain point is new customer acquisition, also customer retention, and it's getting very, very competitive, and they're spending a lot of money on basically onboarding new customers. So us kind of being the place where we can cultivate these new users that eventually we can move on to real money gaming, kind of a highway of new users to the casinos. That's a real opportunity for us. Another opportunity, as I see it, is an alternative to sports betting. So there's some people that will never sports bet. Some people you're already seeing they're getting some fatigue of all the ads and the commercials. You're seeing a lot of that with the sports betting. So we needed to, you know, that's a real market opportunity for us. And then the third one is social gaming, peer-to-peer gaming. There's really no platform that leads with that, and feel strongly that there's a significant opportunity there. So for my real estate friends, I'm sure this will be something they can tease me about afterwards. I'm going to try to make an analogy. I feel like we kind of went and speculated out on the outskirts of town where we saw potential, and we've kind of been improving a property out there, and now we see the suburbs coming towards us. So our timing is really, really good, and we are uniquely positioned to leverage all those market opportunities and be one of the first winners in social gaming. At its core, we play games with friends on AngelFire. So these are our three flagship or marquee games. We'll start with Super Squares. So I think some of you guys that saw AngelFire in the early days, you know, we took Super Bowl squares and we kind of rolled it out for, you know, more than just the Super Bowl. And this was our most popular game when we started. People love squares. It's simple. It fits exactly what we're trying to do here. We outgrew squares though. And it got to the point where at first getting 100 people in a game was amazing, and now it's not enough. We really need more than that to engage our user base. So we've launched Super Squares, which is capable of holding unlimited participants. Essentially what it does is just regenerate a new board once the first 100 fills up, and it does that in perpetuity until the contest starts. And it's all captured under the umbrella of one contest, and the results are accounted for like it's one contest. So we have Super Squares for every NFL game of the season, every NCAA football game of the season, every NBA game of the season, and every NCAA basketball game of the season. So some of y'all might have seen we ran a nice Super Squares for the national championship basketball game. We also have a 5x5 25 square board for smaller groups that are, you know, maybe they can't fill up the 100 square. Super Pick'em. So this is actually something, I mean, I've really kind of invented the way that this works. We took the money lines, we transformed them into a point system, and it's super easy. Just pick A or B. There's no lines or spreads. Which team is going to win? You get, you know, different points for the favorite and for the underdog. And we have this for NFL, NCAA football, NCAA basketball, NBA, NHL, PGA, UFC. We have it for, I think, eight genres at this point. And You know, our latest additions to Super Pick'em are we launched multi-sport. So now we can run pick'ems that are just, used to be we could only run an NFL pick'em or an NBA pick'em. Now we can run a multi-sport pick'em, NBA plus NHL plus MLB. We've also given our users the capability to create custom contests. So when we first started, we kind of did like DraftKings or FanDuel where they had what we called slates, kind of pre-canned contests based on start times, essentially, of various games. So now you can go in the system and pick and choose the teams that you're interested in, and you can create a game just around those specific matches and those specific teams. And kind of the last step with Super Pick'em will be a long-form version. Hoping to release that this fall, and that's when we'll be able to run stuff like, you guys might be familiar with the weekly Circa NFL Pick'em that goes on in Las Vegas. It's a season-long contest every single week. March Madness is sort of a long-form Pick'em, so that's the final piece that we'll be adding to Super Pick'em. You know, and we've got patent pending on all of this stuff. And then Fantasy Bet is our newest baby. And Fantasy Bet is, the premise of Fantasy Bet is we want to start mimicking sports betting-like behavior. Again, this is kind of an easy entry point for people. And we're also trying to map to, you know, where we're probably going to get acquired by, which I'll get to later, but it's a very good chance we're going to end up partnering with a casino, a real money gaming operator. And this helps not only educate our users and kind of cultivate them in that light, but it really is just, it's very valuable in type of engagement. So we built Fantasy Bet in the framework of a social game. So now this is our first game where you can risk points to win points. It's all based on the sportsbook odds, but it plays just like the rest of our games. It's, you know, unlimited participants. It's a social game. So these are some of our newest features and some of the things we look forward to doing here. You can see in the top left, as we prepare to launch our premium product, we're going to start migrating to more of a really prominent leaderboard experience. So my objective is for us to have the best leaderboard experience in the industry. This can be a real splash item for us. So we start moving more prizes over there. Rewards. And what's cool is right now you can see weekly, monthly, and we're going to have weekly winners. But what's really cool if you think about this is we can parse the leaderboard in many, many ways. So eventually it could be we parse it by genre. An NFL leaderboard, an NBA leaderboard. We could parse it by geography. We got the West Coast, the East Coast, you know, South, whatever, North, right? So that could be pretty cool. And then think to a few of you guys I've mentioned with Fantasy Bet, something that we're really interested in is, from a content perspective, providing people their accuracy. How accurate are they on their money line picks, on their picks versus the spread? Exact kind of a way for people to just kind of train themselves and get educated a little bit and learn in a comfortable, non-intimidating environment. So I think we could certainly add an accuracy element to the leaderboard at some point. Who's the most accurate, you know, NFL bettor versus the spread on AngelFire? That could be really, really cool data and also great for marketing. That could be some real splash in marketing for us. So here is a little more of a view of Fantasy Bet. Talked about it already, but you can see, you know, you risk the points to win the points. So this is spread. It's a minus 110. You risk 100, you know, 110 to win 100, you know, for a total of 210 payout. And you can see over here on the money line that works similarly, but according to the money line odds. Where we're going with this is social gaming. Something we're super excited about is leading with our community and making this a really social experience. And we haven't been afraid to borrow popular features from other successful apps at this point. So, you know, next we're going to let people do things like decorate their profiles, have actually friends inside the app. We're going to start connecting people in the app so they can have their own, almost like social media, right? You got your friends. You can, everything will be internal to the app at that point. And then this bottom two here, a couple things. You know, so right now, one of our tactics has been rewards. Our users love rewards. And that was one of my hypotheses, is to make this less intimidating, it's got to be less about the money And the cool thing about rewards is people have to buy something for themselves. And they like that. And we've gotten tremendous feedback on the Amazon gift cards. That's been an amazing reward for us and something we'll probably stick with. But my vision is eventually we want to build out a little more robust of a reward system, kind of give people options, for how they want to, what rewards that they would like to earn or to use. And then this right here, we're going to start adding some very fun and simple layers of content into the app. I mean, you guys can imagine there could be news, there could be expert picks, there could be little things to help people make their picks in the app. I mentioned accuracy on sports betting. That could be some content we introduce. But this I really love from the Amazon Prime Music app. I think this is very AngelFire-esque, the way they did it, this kind of did you know content. Just fun little tidbits of compelling, content about teams or matchups, things like this. So I can already imagine this kind of being on our swipe cards in our pick'em game. When you're picking teams, you get there's a little cool did you know type of content that pops up. So these are some things we're excited about as we move forward. Okay, so this next one, I just want to give y'all a taste of our engagement. I just dropped the push notification on the Squares contest. And you'll see here in about 30 seconds, these are all unique users rushing into the app to grab their square. You guys can see, people are ready and they want more. They're ready to play. A little more on the engagement front here. So I think you'll see in our NFL Week 1 this last year, our pick'em, we had almost 2,000 participants. And we crested we crested 1,000 weekly active unique users during the season, which was a nice number for us. I'll give you a little more context for that later. But you can see over here, Super Squares, that was for the NCAA March Madness Championship. Less marketing time, only a few days to market that really, but still had almost 600 participants. And I think something that's really cool and engaging, so you can see here, is the geolocations. So you can see we have users from everywhere, from Michigan, Florida, Texas, really from all over the country. And I think that's really, really neat to see. March Madness, you see we got 600 people in that for the first round of March Madness, almost 500 people in our Masters pool. And again, those were pretty short lead times and turn times, and we did pretty well. And then what I want to show you guys here is this kind of, we've given our users recently the ability, it used to be just me who could publish contests in our lobby. So now users can publish content to our lobby. So these aren't me, these are all our users who on their own have gone into the app, created a contest, and published it to our timeline. So let me, it's going to show, this was last Monday. I just opened the app and this was all going on in there. So we had, pretty much, a handful of users, some of them had more than one contest, but we had 14 user-generated contests in our timeline. So I think the takeaway here is think about Twitter, think about Instagram. It's a vertical scroll of content. That's where we can go with this. This can be the Twitter or the Instagram of gaming. And one of the big opportunities for us is to be a leader in really advertising. Instead of being a casino mousetrap, advertising sponsorship. So you can imagine, just like Instagram or Twitter, there could be ads in this timeline at some point as we get a little further over. Tactically, I don't think we'll spend a lot of time here, but I think the overarching thing is it's been all about removing the intimidation. To go after this entry-level player, it has to be somewhere they're comfortable, an easy access point. So it's really been at a high level about our user experience. Women, we're doing amazing with women. I'm from the industry. Clearly we still have a male-dominated user base, but we have an opportunity to be a leader with women, which is a transformational and an enormous splash item in this industry. We're doing great with women. Free-to-play, we have the opportunity to be a leader in free-to-play. We have an opportunity to be a leader with our community, really leading with the community. You don't see that a lot of other places. And then rewards. rewards-based gaming is a real tactical opportunity for us. And as you guys know, we have the app. Everybody's played in the app or seen the app. But we've also developed what I call our widget. It's our partner technology. So we have a version of our game engine that we can deploy very simple integration to any partner out there. White label, it's our game engine, our games, and obviously there's potential revenue streams there, but in terms of the value to the partners, I mean, we know I have a content business in this space. Everybody, again, is looking for engagement. We're all looking to collect email addresses. When a content company is driving new users to their site, the first thing we want to do is get their email address so they can then begin marketing to them and sending them through their marketing flows. We have an amazing mousetrap for getting user data and email addresses. Also, so we can build engagement for content companies, also could be a source of revenue for them and for user data. Certainly with the real money gaming operators, I've talked with the Circa in Vegas about this a little bit, and they said they saw the opportunity, but essentially they could bolt this tech on to their ecosystem. And maybe they bring people in through the free-to-play, and then they start to funnel them into their real money gaming. And their retention is terrible. So it's another way they can send them back through the free-to-play to try to retain users at a higher clip. So we certainly think it can be deployed to content sites, to potentially to casinos, restaurants and bars are a real opportunity here as well. And then, I have vision of a live in-venue experience. I was at a minor league baseball game with these two in Florida not too long ago, and the guy was going around, doing kind of like tickets or something. It was all manual, but it was a little game they were playing with everybody there for sponsored prizes at the baseball game. And it was just so clear to me we could easily be doing it with this technology. It'd be a much slicker, better experience. So, we're carving a few pathways to success here. We got the B2C, we also got the B2B. So, a little bit more about our new partnership with SiriusXM, with the AngelFire radio show. I mean, you guys all know how big SiriusXM is. I don't think I need to spend a lot of time on that. But, a couple things. There's an opportunity they have many sports channels. So there's potential to propagate this show beyond just the fantasy sports channel, which is a wonderfully targeted channel for us. But we can certainly go on to potentially to other channels. And they have expressed interest in our widget, our B2B technology. So if we can build on this relationship, there's a chance where we can deploy the partner tech white label for SiriusXM into their website, to their app. They can drive people to their own gaming. So the other thing I would say here is that if you look at the major brands, the major operators in our space, there's been many, many successful companies in our space built off of SiriusXM, specifically the fantasy sports channel. From content companies to real money gaming operators. Roster Watch is one of them. We know plenty of others. If you look at Prize Picks, Underdog, DraftKings, this is where they all started. This is where they built their original user base. Before they went into all the other advertising you're seeing out there, they tripled down on sucking these users up, and that's how they got kind of to critical mass. And that's a big part of our plan as well.
Play games with friends and win prizes every day on the AngelFire Games app, the #1 social gaming app. Everything is fun, simple, and free to play on the AngelFire Games app. Available now in your mobile app store. Don't miss out on today's free feature. Baseball, hockey, basketball, golf, football, mixed martial art, college sports, and much more await you every day in the AngelFire Games app, a no-risk, non-intimidating sports gaming app with fun.
So I think you guys got the taste of that. So that's pretty cool. We got a commercial playing there. Okay, a little bit about strategy here. This is sort of a where we've been, where we're at, and where we're going. So, originally we launched what I call our beta. So beta for us was about proving we can build games people like. So that's what we did at first. We launched our first version of Pick'em. We launched our first version of Squares, and we used my wherewithal in the industry to onboard. Really, it was like our first, I'd say, 5,000 or 6,000 users, kind of in the beta group. So check, green check, and phase 2. MVP, this is maybe a little jargony for you guys, but minimum viable product. These are sort of marketing terms in terms of product roadmap, product strategy. So MVP is now, so we knew we could build games that people like. So the next step was, can we really build a prolific user acquisition mousetrap here? And we have. We're doing very, very well with user acquisition. So I'd say towards the end of MVP, we onboarded probably another 7,500 new users at that point. And I really consider that I think that's a true reflection of our user base, because beta, we didn't necessarily have a lot of engagement for these people yet. By the time we got to phase 2 with MVP, now we started to have enough engagement on the app, we can really keep these people. And we're having a lot of return users, people that have played daily, that are super devout, and like what we're doing. So I give you guys a little fishing analogy here. You guys know I like to fish. Very rare you ever catch a fish on accident, and you certainly don't ever catch a lot of fish on accident. So we're doing some things right here to get these users and to have them coming back. So to date, we've had 17,000 unique signups for AngelFire. About 3,000 of those have been to our partners on the widget side of things. The other 14,000 have been in the app. I think the first 5,000 or 6,000 in beta, it's hard to really, we didn't have enough to really keep them around in maybe the way we'd like. But out of the last 7,500, we got people who love what we're doing. They want more. They're asking for more. They're on the app every day, a lot of them. And we kind of sort of, in the industry, they call it a smile curve, meaning retention. You got people coming in one football season and returning like the next football season. That's a pretty big deal in this space. The other thing that's important to point out here from a strategic point of view is we have a very low customer acquisition cost. Now, we're not asking people to make a real money deposit, so it should be lower. But you look at the casinos, the DFS sites, these are companies that spend $300 to $1,000 on a new customer acquisition. We're at $4 and change to date on our customer acquisition, and it's declining. And that's a real key to our success, is this declining CAC, as they call it. And one of the reasons it's declining is we're having organic growth. Every year we're having a little more organic growth. So this last year we had over 20% organic growth in user acquisition and engagement, meaning we didn't spend any money on these people. They're just showing up in the app. Word of mouth, friends inviting them into games. And I think there's a lot we can do to amplify that. And that organic growth is another pathway to success. Yes, we want to make money, but in this business, getting users at low or no cost, that's a huge, huge deal. So I think we can amplify what we call our flywheel effect there. So what's next is phase 3. So we're going to launch our premium product. I think we got a very clever way that's going to be a really great user experience to do it that I'm excited to start building out in the next few months and get to show everybody. And, we expect to see revenue and increased engagement in phase 3 here. And this is where AngelFire starts to become a valuable company. So next steps for us is over this coming football season and next, which obviously we think we can have engagement year-round, but it doesn't matter if you're DraftKings or MGM or Caesars Palace, football season drives the bus. So we'd like to plan is to onboard 50,000 new users this football season and next football season. Convert them I think at least a 5% conversion rate is a very conservative estimate. If we hit 10%, it's going to be a big deal. And we're going to give them a low entry point. at $10 a month. So this gives us a pathway to grow the company on our own, not be reliant on fundraising. We have a path to grow ourselves to about a quarter. When we can add the first 50, along with the organic growth we're experiencing, we're going to hit a tipping point. We can reinvest our own money in the company and take this thing to 250,000 users over, a 250,000 unique signups over the next, I'd say, 2, 3, 4 football seasons. We're going to have the first layer of revenue, which is the premium product, subscription-based revenue. That's my background with Roster Watch in the industry. So feeling very, very confident about that. But again, we have the opportunity to be a leader in ad revenue. You guys see that timeline of user-generated contests. I truly believe that can become a marketplace of peer-to-peer public gaming, at which point we can, when we get a little further along, we can introduce actual peer-to-peer payment processing where we can scrape a 3 to 5% technology fee on any money that's running tangent between these users tangent to the app. And then obviously I mentioned earlier, we'd like to build out a more robust reward system. So what the future holds is, we want to get to a position of, we want to go raise venture capital money from a position of strength to really accelerate all of this. So that's, once we can start to produce on these next steps, then we'll be in position to go seek that venture capital money and try to really accelerate this process. And I think we can go international. You look at Prize Picks, you look at Underdog. I mean, these are companies at this point, they've had 7 to 10 million signups. They've spent a lot of advertising money on it. But that's the daily fantasy sports space. We think our market is bigger. So, kind of in my mind, someday the dream would be to hit, 1 million plus users would be incredible. So I put these up over here. I think this is super relevant for you guys to see. So before social gaming was DFS. That was after we had real money gaming, and then daily fantasy sports came out. It was kind of the attempt to do something with a broader appeal, a little more top of funnel than just pure gamble. So Monkey Knife Fight was one of the first winners in the DFS space, and they quickly got acquired by Bally's for $90 million in 2021. Sleeper is, Sleeper is somebody we've been emulating from the beginning. So what Sleeper did is, fantasy football is a social game. We've built something beyond that, but they really just went with fantasy football. Their hypothesis was if we can get one person to come over, one commissioner, they're going to bring all 10 friends with them, and we can have this organic growth. And they sort of started with fantasy football, kind of a version of social gaming, did really well with user acquisition, and now they have backed their way into real money gaming and esports, which has been a driver of their valuation increasing. So you can see at 2021 was still when they were mostly a fantasy football app. I'm sure they were probably pitching the real money gaming at that point. And then Underdog. So Underdogs, along with Prize Picks, has been really the big winner in the daily fantasy sports space. You can see in 2022, I think it was a Series C they did in 2022. They had a $485 million valuation. And in the last 3 years, they've scaled and they've gone to $1.23 billion valuation. So it kind of gives you an idea of really the trajectory of this space. And then the last one I like to mention, I didn't put it up here because it's in a different space. But some of you guys probably know the Duolingo language learning app. I like to think of us in a lot of ways as the Duolingo of sports betting. If you look at what Duolingo's done, they've gamified the language learning experience. They target beginner and intermediate users. It's just very traditional revenue, subscription, advertising, in-app purchases. And Duo has other properties than just the Duolingo app, but they have a multi-billion-dollar valuation. They are international. Again, I think we can go international with things like soccer as well. So a little bit on our leadership team here. You guys know me. John is he's our lead investor, and he's a very, very successful businessman and entrepreneur. He's He's a powerhouse, and we're fortunate to have him on board. Keith O'Donnell's been really my advisor from day one with this. He's got a lot of unique experience in startups, finance, technology, and he really bought into the vision, and he's been super helpful the whole way. Bruce, this is the best picture of Bruce I've ever seen right here. Yeah, I love it. So Bruce has got a lot of marketing experience with startups and with tech. So he's kind of uniquely qualified. And I've worked with him for many years, and we've had a lot of success together. And he's somebody I trust too. So, we're happy to have him on board. And by the way, I meant to say this earlier. Bruce hates saying good things about me. Hates it. Hates it. So does Haw. Absolutely hates it. But when he listened to the SiriusXM commercial that we just demoed, that I wrote, he said, "Hey man, I got to tell you, that's a really great commercial." So that was kind of nice to hear. And then Jeff, dude, he's a stud. Jeff is he's a lead influencer. He's a leading name in fantasy sports. He's got a great personal brand. He's the leading host on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports. He's got a five-day-a-week show. He's got a massive following. He's got huge social media following. And he loves the vision of AngelFire and was very interested in being a part of this. And Jeff actually wanted to record a little message for this presentation, so we'll let you hear what Jeff had to say.
Hey, I'm Jeff Ratcliffe. I'm a personality in the fantasy and betting industries, and I host a show on SiriusXM. And I've used AngelFire a lot as a way to engage with my listeners in another way. It's really a fantastic platform for that. The games are super simple, and the listeners really love that. Even if it's a sport they don't know much about, maybe they don't know much about UFC, or they're not much of a baseball person, we can play these very, very simple games. And it's just another layer to the sports experience. So it's been really fantastic for that. I've had a ton of positive feedback. And anytime I put out any sort of competition that we have in there, they fill up really, really quickly. It's a great concept, makes sports much more fun to watch, but you don't have to be some kind of expert to play the game. Simply put, AngelFire games, it's awesome.
So he's done a really good job of helping us build our user base. His followers have quickly adopted AngelFire, and they're some of our most devout users, and it's symbolic of what we can do by targeting more users through SiriusXM and just generally in the space. So this is my favorite part of the presentation, testimonials, user testimonials.
This is Tiger, or NFL's youngest GM, on Twitter and AngelFire. I'm 15 years old, and I've been playing AngelFire for just under 3 years. The three things I love about it are, one, that you can play football, baseball, basketball, hockey, and even stuff like golf and boxing. Two, you can play the squares challenges, which normally don't give you notifications, so you gotta be ready to find them. And three is the fantasy football challenges, which give you two players with similar projected points, and you have to pick who's going to score more. I'm currently ranked 73rd in the world in AngelFire.
Hi, I'm Cuba Girl. I'm from Texas, and there's a few reasons why I love AngelFire. One of them is I love sports. I've always loved sports, and AngelFire kind of brings them all together. So I think that's exciting. Two, it's free, to join these competitions, and I look forward to them every week. But the main one is AngelFire brings my family and my friends together. Me and my family have this group chat where we send contests to every week, and it's just friendly competition to see who's going to win this week or who's going to win next month, and I really thank AngelFire for that.
Hey, it's Jeff from Chicago. If you want a fun, interactive gaming experience, give AngelFire a try. It's interactive. You move up and down the leaderboard with your wins and your losses. All kinds of different sports, from UFC to football, baseball, hockey. It's a lot of fun. It's low pressure, and I think you'll enjoy it. Give it a shot.
Hello, my name is Amanda, and I'm from Lubbock, Texas. My username is AYSolice24. I just wanted to get on here and say that I love AngelFire because one, it's very easy to use and it's super fun. I've run squares with it with family and I join all the free games that's possible. I love all the square games. And I also love the new feature where it's a bet. So you can bet based on your AngelFire points. I think that's really cool. I won before and it's awesome to win and be first place. It's something I take pride in. And yeah, I think AngelFire is so much fun and I'm glad it exists. Thanks.
So just a little last housekeeping here. Thank you to Justin Bain for letting us use this space for this presentation today. We really appreciate it. It's a beautiful space. I want to thank Bruce for helping me put this presentation together. He came in the clutch for me, and I think we did a pretty good job here. And then again, any of you guys who want to come fish with me in Florida, tarpon season's about to go into full swing right now. And then we got a big red snapper season coming up too. So any of you want to come out and get some grouper, snapper, maybe a tuna, maybe a cobia, give me a call, and I'd love to have any of you out, and we can do some fishing together. Otherwise, I just want to thank everybody for their support and for showing up today. So that's what we got. I hope you all maybe take some time, have a beer, some tacos, visit with each other a little bit. If anybody has questions or wants to meet with me anytime, I'm always available.
I got some. I'm just curious. One, are you raising? Or are you ready to play?
Mitch coming in hot, huh? I am considering adding a few new partners and seeking strategic capital at this point. If you're interested, I'll be here till Tuesday. I can visit with you on Monday, or we can set up some kind of meeting when I get back home.
So, a couple things. Just, I think the points to access the real money contest kind of makes a lot of sense. I like where you're going now. I think that's a big deal. I don't know. It kind of feels like you got an opportunity also to sell the points.
I think there's a lot we can do here, and it's going to be a very cool premium experience that we launch. And we're kind of creating an economy of points. People can risk points now, so points are going to become a little bit more scarce, and that's going to be kind of a foundational piece of what we're doing with premium. All right, thank you, everybody. I appreciate y'all very much.